What will be your legacy? What will be the last words your family and friends remember you saying? I was called to a home to pray with a family of an elderly man in his final hours. He had been unconscious all day, but the hospice nurse told me something remarkable. If you ask him one question, he would respond. The question was, "Who wrote the hymn Amazing Grace?" And he would open his eyes and whisper, "My uncle John Newton." The family was baffled. No one had ever heard him mention John Newton before, and besides, John Newton lived centuries ago. But one granddaughter wasn't going to let it go. Before the funeral, she did some research, and she discovered the incredible truth. John Newton was, in fact, a distant relative. At the funeral, the tension was thick. Some family members hadn't spoken to each other in years. There was a lot of bitterness. I knew exactly what my message needed to be. I told them a story about John Newton, a wretched slave trader who was saved by God's grace. And he wrote Amazing Grace with full understanding of his own sin. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. The sweetest words he ever knew. I looked at the family and said, "The parting message this man leaves for us is this. There must have been some wretched sin in his life that only God knew about. He wanted you all to know that amazing grace is real, that no sin is too wretched for God to forgive." There wasn't a dry eye in the place. At the end of the service, a family member who others had told me wasn't welcome came forward. He said, "I heard the message. What do I need to do?" I said, "Receive amazing grace. Ask God for forgiveness. And go to your family and ask them for forgiveness." Right there, he was saved. And his family, in turn, extended grace and mercy. The old man who had passed away left them the gift of all gifts, peace, a legacy that could never be written into a will. The question for you today is this: is the grace of God still so dear to your heart that it compels you to share it with others? Does your soul sing, "Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me"?